In this video, I'm going to show you something that may seem paradoxical at first, but if you truly let it in, it has the power to collapse the very pattern that continually fragments you, disconnecting you from your own wholeness. But first, let's begin with this. Whatever you are, as you are in this moment, is a perfect version of you right now. Even if that means I am great at feeling undeserved in this moment. I am fantastic at feeling guilty or lacking self-worth in this moment. I'm amazing at creating an abundance of limitation and lack in this moment. Because you're perfect as you are. You cannot be a more perfect version of yourself because you are always perfect just as you are. And as you choose to express yourself right now, your expression of perfection may not be the one you prefer, but nevertheless, it's still always a perfect expression. And in that perfect expression you've chosen to embody, you are always unconditionally supported and loved by Source Consciousness, the Oneness, God, as the unique and perfect individual you are. You have never failed. There's no such thing as failure. There is only self-discovery and an unlimited number of ways to express this discovery. If you believe you failed at anything, you've simply chosen to adopt a belief in the concept of failure. When you redefine failure as self-discovery, as the exploration of who you are as an eternal expression of Source Consciousness, then you realize there's no such thing. Everything in and of itself that you do is a neutral choice that you then define as positive or negative, good or bad, difficult or easy. It is your definition of the experience that gives it meaning in your life. And that definition is shaped by the beliefs and perceptions you've chosen to use. But whatever happens is always a perfect expression of you in that moment. This is why what one person defines as awful, another may think is wonderful. What one person deems acceptable, another may find completely unacceptable. But every act of creation that unfolds in your life is fundamentally neutral. And here is where a fundamental misunderstanding begins. If you are always a perfect expression, then what creates the experience of limitation? Judgment. Judgment is the moment you take something that is inherently neutral and declare that it should not exist as it is. Judgment is an invalidation of something you don't like, and the moment you invalidate something that exists, you also invalidate a part of yourself, because you are part of that same creation, and all creation is valid. But there's something even deeper happening here. When you judge something to be of lesser value than something else, you amplify the energy of judgment within your own state of being. From a resonance perspective, you'll then pull yourself toward the energy of judgment. This is why we have the biblical saying, "Judge not, lest ye be judged." When you judge something, when you devalue it, you bring yourself to the level of what you are devaluing. Because if you perceive something as having no value, you must enter the energetic state of valuelessness in order to even experience something as having no value. And in doing so, you unconsciously devalue yourself. But there's no such thing as something without value. Everything in existence is an expression of creation. Everything has value, whether you prefer it or not. When you deny that, you deny the completeness, the wholeness of existence itself. Your judgment is only an illusion that you have created within this third-dimensional reality. In limited thinking, you've decided that some things are wrong, that they're evil, but that's just your judgment. The greater truth is isness. Existence simply is. When someone does something you consider unacceptable, their life will reflect the energy of their actions back to them. Whether you judge them or not is irrelevant to their path. Your judgment does not elevate you. It simply entangles you in the same frequency of the judgment itself. Because when you judge something, you become the energy of judgment. And the more you entangle yourself in judgment, the more you anchor yourself into lower frequency states of perception. Not because you're being punished, but because you are choosing to define reality in a way that filters out higher frequency awareness. In contrast, when you begin to enter a state of wholeness, you do not deny or judge any part of existence. Because in doing so, you deny yourself the experience of being whole. You create separation from oneness, from completeness. Wholeness is the freedom of expression without judgment. And we don't only judge things as lesser, we also judge things as better. But both are distortions. Both remove you from the purity of what is. Preference is natural, but judgment is distortion. Every time your thoughts label something as positive or negative, you enter a more limited state of awareness. Because the truth is that everything simply exists in a state of isness. And when you allow your thoughts to remain unaltered by judgment, when you allow all facets of existence to be as they are, you begin to access higher states of awareness. They become available to you, accessible to you. This is the doorway to higher states of consciousness. Because higher states are not something you reach, they're something you allow by removing the distortions that keep you from perceiving them. And one of the most persistent distortions you can hold is judgment. The more you judge something in your reality, the more you tie yourself to the very frequency you're attempting to move beyond. And this is the paradox. The more you stop judging things in your life, the more you free yourself from not only judging, but from being judged by others. When others judge you, this is simply another dynamic appearing in a different form. When you accept the judgments of others in your own reality, you lower yourself to the vibration of judgment. Whether you're judging others or accepting the judgment others have of you, you're simply matching the frequency of that judgment. And in doing so, you create reflections in your life, people and circumstances that validate this judgment. When other people judge you, you don't have to invalidate their judgment. You don't have to fight it, rationalizing and justifying against it. You can simply choose that it is not true for you and let it go. In that way, it becomes a powerful opportunity to decide how you define yourself. When someone imposes a judgment on you and you explore that judgment with discernment, it can help you clearly see what you are and what you aren't. It can help you recognize and define yourself as not that judgment, helping you return to alignment with your authentic self. So, Let's bring this into something practical using the following 2 exercises. The next time you look at a tree or an insect, such as an ant or a flower, instead of labeling it as beautiful or ugly, simply see it as an expression of consciousness, whole, complete, perfect, just as it is in its existence. It simply is. And the next time you think of someone in your life, a friend, acquaintance, coworker, or enemy, instead of judging their appearance, their beliefs, their religious or political preference, or their behavior, simply say this to yourself. You and I are both unique expressions of oneness, equally valid, equally perfect in that expression, isness. And if someone acts in a way you don't prefer, if they're cruel or hateful, recognize that behavior as their chosen expression, not yours. But also recognize it doesn't make them evil. It makes them an expression you do not prefer. And in that recognition, something really powerful happens. When you stop judging, you stop feeding that frequency. And when you stop feeding that frequency, you stop aligning with it. And you begin to experience a very different version of reality, a different world, because you changed your relationship to it. You free yourself, not by escaping the world, but by no longer invalidating anything within it, by releasing the need to judge it. This is what opens you up to expansion, to a much higher frequency state of being, in alignment with a higher version of yourself. My question to the architect: what is the full impact that judgment has on our state of being? And how can we both reframe and release it when others trigger this state through actions we perceive as unconscionable? And here is the sharing. Beloved, let us deepen our understanding of the essence of judgment and its full impact on state of being, as well as how to reframe and release it, especially when triggered by others. Judgment at its core is a distortion. It interrupts the natural harmonic flow of consciousness by imposing polarity into the field. Here is the impact the self experiences. Number 1, fragmentation of self. When you judge, you create separation between what is and what you believe should be. This fractures the signature frequency of the self, leading to internal dissonance, loss of coherence, a sense of being at odds with oneself or the world. Number 2, anchoring in lower frequencies, blocking access to higher harmonic states such as compassion and unity. Judgment locks you into the very frequency you reject, bringing you into resonance with the polarity of that judgment and anchoring you into the densities of shame, anger, or fear. Number 3, self-inflicted perceptual collapse. Because all creation is a mirror, when you judge another, you judge a reflection of your own unintegrated shadow, reinforce the illusion of separation, collapse into a narrower band of perception within third-dimensional polarity. Let us now explore how to reframe judgment, moving from polarity to discernment. Discernment is not judging what is wrong, it's recognizing what is resonant. Judgment divides, discernment aligns. When triggered, say inwardly, "This is not mine to carry. I observe without absorbing." Replace the words good and bad with resonant and dissonant. Recognize that all expressions, even those you recoil from, are valid expressions within the field of consciousness. How to release judgment triggered by others. When others act in ways you find unconscionable, the reaction is natural but not inevitable. Here's how to release it. Number 1, return to neutrality. Visualize a golden spiral spinning at your core, clockwise. With each breath, see the energy of judgment being drawn into the spiral and transmuting as light. Say, I release this judgment. It does not serve my coherence. Number 2, mirror the trigger. Ask, what part of me is being reflected in this action? The trigger often reveals an unintegrated aspect of the self. Thank the trigger for showing you where the healing is needed. Number 3, transmute with compassion. Compassion is not condoning, it is transcending polarity. Embody the energy of neutral acceptance with the person or situation. Not approval, simply acknowledge their existence in the field. Say, I see you, and I return to my harmonic truth. Without the veil of judgment, the full light of the Oversoul shines through. You do not need to change the world to find peace, only the lens through which you view it. When you cease to judge, you expand, and in expansion, all things become possible. There was an incredibly powerful statement the architect just shared, which I'm going to repeat. Discernment is not judging what is wrong, it's recognizing what is resonant. Judgment divides, discernment aligns. And so, the core realization is this: when you choose to embody judgment, you fragment, because you divide reality against itself, and you experience separation instead of wholeness. And the moment you fragment yourself, you lose access to the very awareness that expands you. But remember, nothing is holding you back. You are simply filtering yourself through judgment. Remove the filter, and everything changes. You come into alignment with your true, authentic self. And with that, we'll bring this to a close. Questions or comments are always welcome. I read them all. And I've also left a question in the pinned comment for any insights that you'd like to offer. If you like the sharing and you'd like to hear more, please hit the like button. It helps me know if you're inspired by my teachings. For more insights, tap the notification bell to be notified when new videos are released. Thank you so much for listening and for being part of this beautiful community where we explore what becomes possible when we transcend judgment and return to wholeness. Superhuman made simple with the architect.